Hello guys, welcome to a very unique episode. This is a different episode of gameplay I'm usually used to doing, more of a podcast sort of type deal. This is a new show I'm going to try called Up and Coming, and or upcoming next, and it's going to be about new games that are coming out soon in the future that we can look forward to. And currently, I only have two games on the list to start this off. I'm gonna hope like 15 minutes for one, 15 minutes for the other. But it's gonna be the first part is gonna be about the Division, and the second part is gonna be about Far Cry Primal. Granted, they're both Ubisoft games. It's not related in any sort of way. I just how I've managed to pick the games. I picked them out of the sense of when they're coming out, and they're both coming out relatively soon to when this will come out. And so let's get going then. The Division. The Division is a game by Ubisoft coming out soon, and it's going to be a third-person shooter. It's sort of a unique type style game. It's a Tom Clancy game, obviously, but it's it's different. There's an apocalyptic world with disease everywhere, and it's about just these group of people trying to survive and stuff like that, which I've seen gameplay of it and everything like that. It seems unique, but again, it could be a troubling idea considering how quickly those things can go, how quickly things can go wrong. And in the past, Ubisoft hasn't really been on top of games coming out recently. They've been kind of struggling with releasing games, considering Assassin's Creed Unity is very, very rocky launch, if you call that rocky. But oh yeah, just so you know, they're not soccer videos at all. Just pointing out these are all my opinions and how I feel about the game and stuff like that, and this is just how I feel. But beyond that, the Division is unique. It's a different type of style, and I think it either could be really good or really bad, and depending on it, I don't know whether or not it's actually going to be the best of games. Now, the game itself does look beautiful. It has the new Snowdrop engine. I think that's what they're using. That's what I believe they're using. But it has a whole new unique system of like weather and everything like that, and so I think it's going to be a beautiful game, no doubt about it. But I just feel like it's going to take a lot to put itself out there. Oh wow, I was trying to like cover up a yawn there. Did not work out too well. But it's gonna take a lot for it to take itself out there. And from what I see, it's co-op. You work with a team and everything like that, and you go around and you try to fight for loot and stuff like that. And from what I know, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a multiplayer. I'm not sure though. I'm pretty sure there is though. Actually, believe it or not, I don't see why why they wouldn't put a multiplayer on there. But pretty much it's about a I'm like how we moved back to from graphics all the way to back to story. But yeah, pandemic spreads on. It started on Black Friday, I believe, and that would be probably the worst time for disease to spread. So it makes sense because people would be out everywhere on that time of day, and it puts the United States specifically into chaos. And it's going to be probably groups of people that are trying to fight for survival in a sense and trying to gain supplies and the loot and stuff like that. And I'm actually looking up see what engine it's using right now, and I'm trying to find it. Of course, I don't. I want to say it's a Snowdrop engine though. I was trying to figure that out real quick, but I can. But the problem is it has a really good idea. The problem I see it though with is that it's been delayed a lot. Like, I don't I don't mind if games get delayed at all, because was a huge fan of The Witcher 3, and The Witcher 3 was fantastic, but that game was also delayed. I don't mind if games are going to be delayed and the final product's still going to be amazing. Like I don't mind that. But the thing is, what I see is I don't want it to be delayed and it end up being really crappy. And I would really make me mad. And relative to how I don't want to say Ubisoft makes bad games, I just want to say that their games haven't really been on top lately, and I just want to, I just want to clarify that it could go either way. But I don't understand what is the delay. Like, I want to know if it's going to be something whereas it can't work with the Xbox or PS4 too well, or is it something as they just got to keep trimming up and keep fixing stuff because more and more stuff keep needing to be fixed. And again, I don't mind if a game gets delayed. I just want the final product to be really good. Now, how I think it will work. I think it will work the idea is perfect. I like the idea and it looks really good, and I definitely do want to actually get the game. So I will be getting the game when it releases soon, and I believe it's releasing in March. Yeah, March 8th. And I think that the game itself can work very well. I mean, again, there hasn't been a lot out on this game yet, so I can't really say whether or not this game will be either really good or really bad or really buggy or something like that, because you never know how a game's going to come out until it's actually out. So I can't make these predictions when I haven't played the game. I've only seen and know what I've watched. But again, I'm fighting back another yawn. Ugh. But the game, The Division has a very good concept to it, and I really enjoy that concept and believe it can go very well. And I really want it to do something well because it has a lot of potential to make another game. But then again, another game that was supposed to be a big Ubisoft hit was Watch Dogs, and that didn't have a lot of the biggest hype going around, they had a lot of hype. That game had beyond hype. But hell, I wanted to get Watch Dogs. That game didn't have exactly the greatest of launches either, and not to mention the game had a very disappointing ending. I won't spoil it, but it had a very disappointing ending to me. But I just think that they need to learn from these mistakes, and I don't know if they will, but I guess we'll all find out in the future. And it's just, there's so many games out here that Ubisoft is a massive publisher, and they throw out games all the time, but I've been sort of stepping back from Ubisoft as it goes on because I'm losing my trust with. Now, I'm gonna say I'm losing my trust with them because I bought Assassin's Creed 4, and granted, the game itself wasn't bad. I just didn't like the story at all. I thought you spent way too much time on a ship, and I think you spent about 98% of the time on a ship, and you took out all the traditional Assassin's Creed style games. Like all the traditional climbing from Assassin's Creed style games is what I meant. But in a sense, then they came out with Unity, and Unity was beyond terrible with the launch. The game had a good story, but the launch was so buggy and rocky that you couldn't play it pretty much. Anytime something happened, it would be kind of it'd be kind of messed up because the feeling you get from doing something in the game kind of got messed up by something like a bug or sort of glitches happening throughout the game. So I don't know if this is going to happen in the Division either. But then you go on to Assassin's Creed Syndicate. From what I hear, I didn't buy Assassin's Creed Syndicate because I didn't want to. I didn't have any faith that Assassin's Creed Syndicate was going to be any good. And from what I hear, Assassin's Creed Syndicate was actually pretty smooth and pretty good, and it was well received. But from what I know, I don't think the sales did as good as any other game, like Assassin's Creed 4, obviously, because people kind of stepped away from the whole Assassin's Creed titles because the game a year thing is a really hard to do. If you overdo something, you're gonna push fans away really easily. And I don't know. I do like that they're taking a break now and moving on to. They're kind of giving a year for a breather because I've been kind of getting sick of Assassin's Creed lately. But I think that Division is going to be kind of a nice breather from the traditional Ubisoft games that keep coming out, and it's kind of like, a kind of a refreshment coming in. I thought Watch Dogs was going to be like that, but it turns out it was not. It was just they just didn't. It wasn't a complete game. Like the game itself was done. Like it completed. It was good, but it was the what I mean by it wasn't complete is just it was. You don't get the sense of fulfillment when you're done. Like when I played Skyrim for the first time and beat it, I've never felt more fulfilled with myself because you just completed all this stuff and you're just like, wow, I just did all that, and now you have like, oh, I can do more, but it gives you the sense that you want to replay it, and I don't think Watch Dogs has that ability to do that, and I want the Division to hold that because the Division has a very good concept. And as we're rounding out towards the end of this part, I'm gonna finish off with, will I get the Division? I already answered before. I'm getting the Division. Expect videos on it. I do expect to make at least more than one video on it, and I hope it will be very, very good. But I want it to be good. I will do a review on it, and if it is anywhere close to being to my expectations or anywhere around there, I will say it was. I'm not gonna diss the game if it's actually good, or if it's pretty smooth and I just don't like it. I won't diss it because I'm gonna go as a reporter. It's my opinion, but it's also a sense of the game was well done, and people put a lot of work into these games, and they spend all this time working on it just to have some reporter or some person just shit on it. That, in my opinion, is they did put a lot of work into this, and I hope. But then again, in another sense, I'm coming off it as a guy who plays games, and I want it to be to my expectations as a gamer too. So it's like I'm trying to come off of it as both ways, and I'm gonna give my review on it, but it's gonna be professionally done. I'm not gonna completely just give everything shitty reviews if it's shitty or if I don't like it or something like that. I'm going to criticize it in a sense of where I still respect what they've done. But I will get the Division. It looks like a very good quality game that I do want. It has a very good concept that I want, and I hope it does well. I really do. No. Not for the real subject. Oh god. Far Cry Primal. Again, another Ubisoft game, but I said that earlier. This, I feel like, is the tipping point for Far Cry. Far Cry 4 and 3 are identical in terms of how it's laid out, in my opinion. I loved Far Cry 3, and Far Cry 3 was very intense. It was fun. It was full of action. It was great. But you go to Far Cry 4, it's pretty much laid out entirely the same way. You have 2 islands. You have your main enemy, and then you have the Resistance. And you're just some random guy that's thrown into the middle of it, and you have to deal with this whole problem and fix this problem. Granted, in a sense, AJ in Far Cry 4 was looking for trouble. Well, wasn't really looking for trouble. He was looking to spread his mother's ashes and find out who, in a sense, look for his mother's killer. All right, continue along here. And it wasn't that he wasn't looking for trouble or looking for his like mother's killer. He was looking to spread his mother's ashes where she wanted him, and I don't know why I said mother's killer either, because his mother was with him. I'm pretty sure, or father. I really don't remember. I haven't played Far Cry 4 in a very long time. He was looking to spread his mother's ashes. I know that, and then he ended up finding Pagan Min there, and then you go on to play the story, and as I played it, I see it seems so much. It seemed a lot really familiar as I played it. It looked a lot like Far Cry 4, and in a sense, it was pretty familiar. I didn't think the game was bad. I enjoyed it, and I didn't play the multiplayer too much, but the multiplayer was okay. Far Cry Primal just seems it's like a DLC to me. It's not a full game. I don't understand how they're going to actually make this a game. And I think it has a cool concept, but there's no story really, and I don't think I don't understand how the story is going to be interacted or put into the game. And from what I know, it's going to be about it's going to be about a, I don't know exactly the character's name, but it's going to be about the main character who has to start off as just a regular hunter for the tribe, and he has to rise up and become the leader of the tribe, which to me that's just overdoing it. Like that's a story, but it's not a story you can really build off of. Like, and I guess it's nice that they're moving away from the traditional Far Cry concept, because Far Cry 3 and 4 were so similar, and maybe it's kind of good to get a breather as kind of a barrier to relax a little bit, but if anything, it's coming out too soon. Excuse me. I really do not believe in the game a year concept. The game a year concept is never good, because the games in quality start turning into, it starts going into quantity versus quality. And if I have to pick games that are progressively getting worse and worse, like the first game that comes to mind is Call of Duty, and I'm gonna probably get a, if anything, people might get on my case about this, but Call of Duty is progressively gotten worse and worse, and people can argue that, oh no, this is not true, because Call of Duty's seen a rise with Black Ops 3. Granted, Black Ops 3 is made by a different company. Call of Duty Ghosts, or actually, I'm going to start off with Modern Warfare 3, because Modern Warfare 2 was the biggest, probably one of the best Call of Duties out there, and it did very well. However, Modern Warfare 3 actually sold better than Modern Warfare 2. That's because people probably expected, including myself, Modern Warfare 3 to be better than Modern Warfare 2. So, when this happens, the hype train was there, and Modern Warfare 3 wasn't a bad game. It wasn't at all. But it just wasn't as good as Modern Warfare 2, and that probably set a lot of people back, going, this isn't what I expected, I don't like this. And I can see where people getting mad there are, or how people can get mad from that. But you go on to Ghosts, which was the next Infinity Ward game. It did horrible. And that's in terms of just sales. More or less, Call of Duty always gets really good reviews because it's Call of Duty, but in terms of sales, people didn't buy it compared to any of the other games. Did progressively worse. I want to see the numbers. I don't know if these are exact numbers. I want to say that Ghost only sold 16 million. Yeah, only 16 million copies. But compare that to Modern Warfare 3, which was at 26 million. That's a big drop. You're talking about 10 million copies sold drop, which is pretty significant if you ask me. Sorry, excuse me. But then again, you go on to Advanced Warfare that came out. Advanced Warfare did 16% worse than Ghosts, and that was made by Sledgehammer. So there's another drop. And then you have Black Ops 3, which actually did better than Advanced Warfare and Ghosts and all that. And people are thinking, yeah, it's a jump for Call of Duty. Call of Duty's not being bad anymore. But the problem with that is Black Ops 2 wasn't a bad game. Black Ops 2 was actually was a pretty good quality game. Black Ops 2 is also riding off that success. Black Ops 3 would be riding off of that success. They have the momentum from Black Ops 2. Now, Black Ops 3 is also pretty damn similar to Black Ops or to Advanced Warfare in terms of how the exosuits are and things like that. I personally did not like Black Ops 3. I thought it was too much, and I feel like the future is not the way to go. And as they go on in the future, it's just, in terms of quality, I don't think it's it. But that's beyond the point. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Advanced Black Ops 3 to me is basically Titanfall. That's how I see it, and that's how I pictured it without the Titans, obviously. But that's how it was to me. That's how I thought it would be. How I thought it looked like. But then again, that's not what we're talking about. But Far Cry Primal, back onto it. It has a good concept, like we can control animals and stuff like that, but honestly, it's just, I feel like it's lacking. Like the game of year concept is not the way to go. And if you want examples, you can look at Grand Theft Auto or the Witcher series or Dragon Age or the Elder Scrolls, and all those concepts generally do very well because they don't come out every year, and games that do come out every year generally don't change much, or you don't see much of a change between the games. Like, if you want my honest opinion about it, it's like you look at games that repeat itself every year. Like, say, sports games, for example. Sports games never change every year. It's a different roster. It's updated. Like, the roster's updated and it's smoother graphics. That's all they are. And they are a powerhouse. And yet, in terms, if you look at NHL is probably one of the worst sports games that are out there that are popular in a sense. Because, like, Madden's huge, NBA 2K, or 2K is huge for NBA, and then, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank at FIFA. FIFA's huge too. But then if you look at something like NHL has seen a decline. Like, if you compare NHL 14 to 15, most people are going to say 14 was very good, but they're going to say 15 was bad because 15 they took a lot of stuff out. Well, that game comes out every year, and granted they have a year now to fix their mistake, but it's the games that come out every year are generally it's quantity versus quality, and generally games that don't come out a game a year, or developers that don't put out a game a year, do a lot better than games that go, or companies that put out a game a year, and that's because, well, they're smoother, they taking the time to put it in, and it's not always the case sometimes. Like, you see a lot of games with a release that just are bad launches and stuff like that. Assassin's Creed Unity, which actually, no, I think Unity came out a year after 4, so there's an example of Rocky Start, and I'm trying to think of an example. I can't really think of an example, to be honest, but we're nearing the end of the show, and I want to thank you all for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. I will be doing more I'll be doing more videos like this in the future. It just so happens that I was playing Minecraft. It was sort of a thing I was doing. These videos are more or less going to be just what I'm playing, and then I'll do it what's going on. And I thought of a name for the show. The show's going to be called Up and Coming. So it's going to be talking about games that come out in the future. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you around.